All right, so that roar inside US Bank Stadium last Sunday night, I mean, it was absolutely deafening, wasn't it? Just this wave of purple passion. You felt like something big was coming.
Oh, yeah, electrics.
But then, as the clock hit 0, the silence just fell. It was eerie, really heavy. You could almost feel the whole place just deflate. The Vikings' 22-6 defeat to the Atlanta Falcons, it wasn't just a tough loss, on the scoreboard. It felt like a really stark, kind of jarring glimpse into some deeper issues, maybe, some challenges bubbling up.
Definitely more than just the final score.
Exactly. So for you listening right now, the central question for us today isn't just how the Vikings lost. It's more about how they navigate this, right? How do they start rebuilding, showing some resilience, especially with week 3 already staring them down?
That's key. We need to move past that initial gut reaction, that frustration you probably felt watching. Our mission here in this deep dive is really to unpack the full context, all the nuances behind that loss. We've gathered, a whole stack of sources, detailed articles, some really sharp expert analysis, and we've got a direct line on fan reactions too. We want to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the real insights.
Get the full picture.
Exactly. See it from every angle. Understand not just what happened, but why it matters, and crucially, what the strategic adjustments look like moving forward for Minnesota.
And that's exactly what we're diving into. We'll look at the game breakdowns, minute by minute almost. We'll really analyze J.J. McCarthy's performance. I mean, it was only his second NFL start.
A tough spot for him.
No kidding. And then we'll sift through those crucial injury reports and get a feel for that fan sentiment, which is always passionate, let's say.
Yeah, that's one word for it.
Our goal is clear. Understand what went wrong, yes, but also the deeper meaning, and most importantly, what's the path forward for the Vikings? Let's dig in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so to really get the shock of week 2, you kind of have to rewind just 7 days, right? To that moment when optimism was just sky high.
Big contrast.
Huge. Remember week 1? Just the week before, the Vikings rallied, looked fantastic beating the Bears, remember? 3 huge fourth quarter touchdowns.
Yeah, explosive finish.
There was this real feeling of momentum, like O'Connell's offense had found its groove. Then fast forward to week 2 against the Falcons, and it's almost unbelievable. The same offense looked, totally unrecognizable.
Night and day.
The stats alone are pretty brutal. Just 6 points, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, 6 sacks, a lost fumble, all adding up to that really disheartening 22-6 loss.
Yeah, and what jumps out right away when you really look closely is that this wasn't just about poor execution. I mean, there were definitely mistakes, no doubt about that.
Sure.
But the Vikings went into that game missing, you could call them pillars of the roster, especially on that offensive line.
Key guys out.
Absolutely. Think about who was missing. Left tackle, Christian Darrisaw. He's a cornerstone, still out with that knee injury. Then starting center Ryan Kelly gets knocked out early with a concussion.
Right, the protocol.
Exactly, that whole strict process he has to go through. So his replacement, Michael Juergens, a 7th-round rookie, he's suddenly thrown in.
Wow.
And then it gets worse. His backup, Justin School, also goes out with a concussion. So now you've got rookie Walter Rouse taking his very first NFL snaps.
Just unreal.
Plus, running back Aaron Jones gets hurt mid-game, taking another weapon away.
Right.
And critically, Jordan Addison, the suspended receiver, he was McCarthy's most familiar target from camp. He's gone too.
So it's a cascade.
It really is.
Yeah.
These aren't just minor dings. It's a whole series of injuries, stretching the roster incredibly thin at the absolute worst time. The insight here, a team, doesn't matter how talented, is often only as strong as its weakest link. And for the Vikings, that O-line just became fundamentally weak.
And all that pressure just lands squarely on the young quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. Like we said, second NFL start, but that Falcons pass rush turned it into a trial by fire, honestly.
Relentless.
His stat line kind of tells the story. 11 of 21, 158 yards, 2 interceptions, 6 sacks, and that lost fumble. It's just a harsh reminder of how fast NFL defenses can expose a young QB, especially one without solid protection.
Yeah, nowhere to hide.
But, even with all those struggles, you did see flashes, real flashes of why he was a first-round pick.
There were moments.
Yeah, like late in the first half, McCarthy just uncorked this beautiful 50-yard rope to Justin Jefferson, showed that arm talent even under pressure, set up a field goal.
Big throw.
And in the 2-minute drills where things speed up and it's more instinctual, he's actually shown pretty good composure for a young guy. Those are the moments. That's why they drafted him, why they still believe, even if our collective patience is being tested a bit early.
And that brings up a really important question, right? How much of that performance was really on McCarthy and how much was just the situation he was thrown into.
Yeah, the circumstances.
And the connection to those O-line issues is just undeniable. Get this specific detail. On one of those sack fumbles, the Falcons defender, Zach Harrison, got to McCarthy in just 2.54 seconds.
Wow, 2.54. That's fast.
It's incredibly fast. One of the fastest sacks all season so far. And the NFL's next-gen stats showed the Falcons pressured McCarthy on, get this, 53.5% of his dropbacks.
Over half the time.
Over half. That's their highest rate in a single game since way back in 2018. No quarterback, I don't care who you are, especially a young one, can function, let alone thrive under that kind of constant, immediate heat.
Right.
So this wasn't just McCarthy failing. It was an offense that fundamentally couldn't shield him long enough to even try to execute plays. It speaks to that principle. You know, you can't really evaluate a young QB until the protection gives him a chance. The blame here is systemic. That's not just on one guy.
That's a really crucial point. And it makes us broaden the view beyond McCarthy and the protection, because the offensive struggles, they ran deeper. There's that one sequence that I think for a lot of fans just became this painful metaphor for the whole night.
Oh, the goal line stand?
Yeah, 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. And instead of just pounding it in, you could almost hear people screaming at their TVs, right? The Vikings just stalled out.
Frustrating to watch.
Delay of game penalty, then a botched snap, then a sack. What absolutely should have been 7 points turns into 3. It just felt like opportunities squandered, execution missing when it mattered most. And you could feel that fan frustration reading the articles. Why not just run it 4 times with Mason? Or stop calling these long developing plays when the line can't hold? Valid points, really.
Absolutely. And that constricted attack, it wasn't just the O-line issues, though that was huge. It was made significantly worse by not having that other key receiver.
Addison.
Right. With Jefferson getting doubled a lot, and no Addison to draw coverage away, Jalen Nailor actually became the most targeted receiver. And look, Nailor played well. He made the most of it.
He did okay.
But without Addison's proven ability to stretch the field, to open things up, the Falcons could just collapse those passing lanes. They didn't have to worry about that consistent deep threat. It just squeezed the whole offense, making McCarthy's already tough job even harder.
It's interesting how, McCarthy's picks got the headlines right away, but the real story, the underlying reason for this loss, it really feels like it's just that relentless attrition.
The injuries piling up.
Yeah, by the second quarter, that offensive line was already a patchwork unit. Yeah. Kelly's concussion forces a rookie into making protection calls. Darrisaw's still out, leaving the blind side shaky. Then Skull gets hurt. It just compounded everything.
A revolving door.
Became this rotating door of inexperienced guys trying to hold it together. That's a nightmare scenario for any team, let alone on prime time.
And then, like you mentioned, there's the Jordan Addison suspension impact. This is an explosive second-year guy, right? Back-to-back double-digit TD seasons. A real playmaker.
The one they were counting on?
Definitely. He was supposed to be McCarthy's safety valve, the guy he had the most reps with, the most chemistry with from camp. Without him, defenses could just dedicate extra guys to bracketing Jefferson, knowing he was the main threat.
Makes sense.
It forced McCarthy to look to secondary reads when Jefferson was inevitably covered. Look, this isn't making excuses, but it's absolutely vital context. This wasn't the full-strength Vikings offense we saw rip apart the Bears in Week 1. This was an offense basically stripped of its spine and asked to perform under the brightest lights.
Okay, let's shift to the coaching decisions then, because Coach O'Connell, he certainly didn't escape the criticism after this one.
No, the heat was definitely on him too.
Fans were pointing to specific things, some conservative punts on 4th and short, maybe questionable play calls in the red zone that didn't seem to fit who was available, and that perceived unwillingness to just lean on Jordan Mason on those crucial short yardage downs.
Right.
The feeling from a lot of fans anyway was that maybe O'Connell played it a bit safe, played not to lose instead of going for the win. What's your read on that?
Well, you hit on the key word there, perception. O'Connell himself, to his credit, acknowledged the disappointment. He said, "It starts with me. Very disappointing performance tonight."
Took responsibility.
Yeah, but his challenge now, it isn't just about X's and O's, it's psychological too.
Yeah.
He's got to rally a fan base that's not just let down, but maybe feeling a bit of that here we go again vibe from past seasons.
Yeah, the deja vu.
Exactly. And at the same time, he has to inspire his own locker room, a team that's dealing with injuries, the suspension, and just the real growing pains you get with a young quarterback. That's a really tough balancing act, managing the outside noise and the internal morale.
You could really feel that fan pulse, couldn't you? Through social media, local radio after the game, the reactions were intense. You had anger at the O-line, frustration with the play calling, some real doubts bubbling up about McCarthy's readiness, even calls for the OC to take over plays.
Yeah, a very charged atmosphere.
A real mix of disappointment and maybe even a bit of panic setting in for some.
For sure. But what's striking, I think, is that underneath all that immediate heat, there's still this undercurrent of resilience you find.
Yeah.
Some fans were quick to jump in with, hey, it's only 2 games. Others were pointing directly to the injury list, to Addison being out, saying, hold on, let's not judge a young QB after just 8 quarters.
Providing context.
Exactly. The feeling, if you boil it down, is really patience. The frustration is real, absolutely. But so is this underlying belief that the Vikings can find their rhythm, that they will figure it out as the season goes.
Right.
It shows that deep loyalty, doesn't it?
It does. You're right. That Falcons loss was, well, undeniably ugly. The O-line is banged up, the playbook felt limited, and McCarthy is clearly still learning on the job. But this is where the story pivots.
Absolutely. Time to look forward.
The season isn't defined by 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not at all. Coming up is this huge home game against the Cincinnati Bengals. It's a matchup that, yeah, it has risk, but maybe more importantly, it offers a massive opportunity for this team to kind of reset things.
And broadening that view, the Bengals, they come in with their own questions. Joe Burrow's dealing with turf toe, and anyone who follows football knows that's a nasty, nagging injury for a QB. Really limits push-off and movement.
So maybe Browning starts?
Seems likely, yeah. Jake Browning.
Yeah.
And that presents a huge opportunity for the Vikings. This is a critical get-right game. It's a must-win for reasons beyond just the 1-2 versus 2-1 record.
Bigger than the standings.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
A win doesn't just improve the record, it pumps vital confidence back into that locker room, and maybe just as importantly, reassures the fans. And for McCarthy, it's a massive chance for real growth under pressure. A chance to show he can take that next step.
Okay, so for the Vikings then, priority number 1, it absolutely has to be fixing things up front, right? Fixing the trenches. That image of McCarthy picking herself off the turf over and over, that's burned into fan minds now.
Yes, 6 sacks, countless hits.
Everyone knows without a better wall there, this offense just can't function the way it needs to. So what's the immediate plan? What can they actually do to fix this?
Well, let's think about the plan they had. They came into 2025 wanting to seriously upgrade that line. Brought in vets like Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, used a first-round pick on Donovan Jackson.
Right, the investment was there.
But like we covered, that run of injuries just blew up the plan pretty quickly. With Kelly and Skull concussed, Darisaw still out, they were suddenly relying on rookies like Rouse and Jurgens in key spots. Never ideal.
So what now? Week 3 adjustments.
Yeah, expect to see streamlined protection schemes, simpler calls, maybe more emphasis on quicker throws, getting the ball out fast. You might see more rollouts to move the pocket, give McCarthy a different launch point, and definitely expect extra tight end help on the edges, chipping those pass rushers.
So basically addressing what the fans were yelling about.
Pretty much. The calls for slants, quick game, avoiding those long developing plays, these adjustments are a direct answer to the reality that the line couldn't hold up for long stretches.
And speaking of missing pieces, Jordan Addison, his suspension, it just feels bigger than the stats can capture, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
In just 2 seasons, he's shown he's a touchdown guy, the perfect complement to Jefferson, someone who stretches the field. Taking him out really robbed the Vikings of that second explosive threat.
Yeah, it allowed defenses to just tilt everything towards Jefferson, knowing Addison wasn't there on the other side to make them pay.
His return in week 4 against Pittsburgh, that could genuinely change the whole offensive landscape, couldn't it? Ease McCarthy's reads, maybe get Jefferson more single coverage looks.
It really could. But for this week against Cincinnati, they have to find other ways to manufacture that spark. That means getting Jordan Mason going out of the backfield more effectively, maybe dialing up play action, even with the line issues, perhaps quicker fakes, and looking for mismatches with the tight ends.
Got to get creative.
No doubt. Addison's absence was one of those invisible but hugely impactful factors in week 2. It forces them to rethink how they attack through the air right now.
Okay, so while the offense got most of the heat, we should give some credit to Brian Flores' defense, shouldn't we? For 3 quarters, they really did keep Atlanta mostly to field goals. They bent quite a bit, but they didn't totally break for a long time, showed some grit.
They absolutely battled. Their effort kept the team hanging around much longer than the offense probably deserved, honestly.
That's true.
But even that defense showed some cracks, right? They gave up some chunk runs at bad times, couldn't get off the field on that final game-clinching drive for Atlanta.
Yeah, that hurt.
And they were missing guys too. Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel, veteran Harrison Smith injuries or concussion protocol hit them too. Left them a bit thin against the run and in coverage.
So everyone was feeling the attrition.
Pretty much. While the defense fought hard, they can only hold the fort for so long if the offense isn't sustaining drives, isn't controlling the clock. So against the Bengals, potentially with Browning at QB, that idea of complementary football is massive.
Explain that a bit.
It just means offense, defense, special teams all working together, helping each other out. Defense gets a stop, offense capitalizes, offense sustains a drive, gives the defense a rest. It's not just about how each unit plays individually, but how they function as a whole system. That'll be essential.
Gotcha. And back to the coaching side, O'Connell saying, it starts with me, that accountability. It can't just be words, right? It needs to translate into action this week. He's definitely under the microscope.
For sure. And people are watching.
So how does he show that accountability? What concrete steps can he take?
Well, some potential moves people are talking about. Maybe delegating more play calling to the OC, Wes Phillips. Perhaps simplifying the playbook significantly, tailoring it more to McCarthy's current comfort level and, frankly, the O-line's limitations.
Makes sense.
And, crucially, committing to the run game in short yardage. That was a major fan frustration, seeing Mason not get those carries near the goal line. Week 3 is O'Connell's chance to show those adjustments aren't just talk, they're real changes to the game plan.
All right, let's focus squarely on week 3 then. Cincinnati comes in, Burrow likely out or limited with that turf toe, Browning probably starting. On paper, at home, this looks like a game Minnesota should win, doesn't it?
It definitely tilts the odds, yeah. And like we said, this feels like a profound get-right game.
Yeah.
It's a must-win that goes way beyond just the standings.
Psychologically huge.
Massively. A win doesn't just get them to 2-1. It injects that vital confidence back into the team, reassures the fans. And for McCarthy, it's such a key opportunity for growth. Show he can lead through adversity, execute under pressure.
And they might get some guys back too.
That's the other big factor. Potential returns for week 3. Darrisaw is the headline wash, obviously. But Van Ginkel, Okudah, Kelly, Harrison Smith, they could all potentially clear concussion protocol.
That would be huge.
Huge boost. It's really no surprise DraftKings opened with the Vikings as 4.5-point favorites. You put all those pieces together, it makes this an incredibly high-stakes but winnable game.
And here's where it loops back in an interesting way. Despite all that frustration after week 2, there really is this strong sense of resilience you pick up from the fans.
Yeah, that's still there.
You hear it. It's only 2 games. This team will bounce back. There's still this deep belief, this hope that this is just a rough patch, not the new normal.
And you know what? That resilience, it's actually kind of built into this roster situation too. Think about it. Christian Darrisaw will be back. Ryan Kelly will clear protocol eventually. Jordan Addison will return in week 4. Aaron Jones will heal up.
Reinforcements are coming.
Exactly. And J.J. McCarthy, yeah, he's not technically a rookie, but he's still basically a debut starter making his way. He will learn from this stuff. That's how development works in the NFL.
Right.
Like that fan quote you mentioned earlier. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but this is what the front office signed us up for. That really captures it.
Patience is the key word.
It really is. Yeah. This isn't last year's team. It's younger, it's evolving, it's still finding its identity.
Yeah.
So growing pains, they're kind of inevitable. But you look at the talent. Jefferson, Addison when he's back, Darrisaw, Flores' defense, the ceiling is still really high for this group.
And McCarthy himself, he had some really strong, pretty candid words after the loss that kind of summed up that long view, that mentality they need.
Yeah, what did he say?
He said, this is a long season. Everyone's telling me this is a freaking journey, and I believe them wholeheartedly. We got a lot to do, and I got a lot to do personally. There's a lot of love in that locker room, and that's what it comes down to. So it's just about getting back to the drawing board and working on just getting better at the little things and executing the simple things better.
That's good stuff. That's the right mindset. Not just words, but like a plan for moving forward.
Exactly. So, okay, wrapping this up. Week 2 hurt. No doubt that disappointment was real, but as we've sort of unpacked here today, it doesn't define the whole season.
Not by a long shot.
McCarthy's struggles, like he said, they're part of his growth, not the end of his story. With the right tweaks, hopefully a healthier O-line down the road, and Addison coming back to change things, This offense absolutely can evolve. It can go from looking stagnant to looking dangerous again.
And that makes Week 3 against Cincinnati more than just another game on the schedule. It really is a statement game. Chance to hit reset. A win fundamentally changes the narrative from Vikings in crisis to Vikings overcoming adversity.
Huge momentum swing potential.
Absolutely. It's a massive inflection point that could shape how we see this team and how they see themselves for weeks to come.
So it leaves you, the listener, pondering this, maybe echoing that fan. Never get too high, never get too low. It's a long season. JJ will learn. We'll be fine. The big question hanging out there for you is, just how much patience will this evolving Vikings team really need? And what other unexpected turns, exciting or maybe challenging, does this journey, as McCarthy called it, still have in store for Minnesota fans?